that you again see the cross-pollination. That is what Safina is rejecting. This contest, if you ask me, is 2022 part 2 of Uhuru versus Ruto.
And we saw how it
Everybody
went
else
down.
just becomes a pawn. So Safina, what we stand for is let's have a discussion about the people. It is good enough what they're doing in terms of mobilizing the public to show that the failures of Kenya Kwanza and William Ruto. That is good enough. But as to the future, what next? The virus of this country is called Jubilee. And that virus keeps mutating. This I must say. And they say, amri ni kubwa kushinda mwenye alipeana. They don't care about the citizens.
Amri ni kubwa.
When I'm telling you that policeman who will be in charge of that chain of command, the command responsibility at every division, will be elected by the people. Do you know when changing? Do you know what you are upsetting?
Yes. What did you notice when he was actively involved with Gachagwa's camp?
In fact,
great to see you. It is always a pleasure to have you joining us for our political conversations that we say we genuinely do hope are conversations that can shape people. We're tired of helping politicians become better because they ain't. So what can we do? We can make people make informed decisions, and this is the goal of our conversations. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and counter check if you have subscribed. Most people watch us and then believe that you have subscribed to the platform. Maybe you haven't. Please counter check. My conversation is about Azimio is back. Coalition is back. From a previous conversation with Wakili Willis Otieno, you told me, ask him, why isn't he part of Azimio together with Jimmy Wanjigi and Safina Pesa? Great to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, Jadiel.
We are looking at Azimio. We talked about it a little bit last week, but the main conversation in the country is, what are we looking at? I talked to Philip Kisi, and he was telling me he's now the executive director, that they're going to rebrand and they're going to come up with something big. If you want Ruto out and you believe change must happen, why aren't you joining that team?
Ruto is gone. Ruto is gone. Going Ruto will go. The Kenyan people are done with William Ruto. That's a fact. Nothing will change it. He can campaign as much as he wants. He can spend as much money as he wants to spend. But for as long as the economy is the way it is, there are more jobless Kenyans today than there were last year. There are more Kenyans dying of preventable diseases because Chief Shah is not working for them than there were last year. The cost of living has increased exponentially this year than it had last year. For as long as those fundamentals are the way they are, Ruto is gone.
Roadmap.
So now the question is this. What next after William Ruto? Any coalition that is formed premised on Ruto must go, in our honest opinion, is not a coalition of the people of Kenya. That becomes a coalition of legacy politicians.
Isn't this what Kenyans want, Ruto out?
No. Ruto will go. They are done with Ruto. Going is going. What we should be discussing is what next. Why did the Kenyan people leave William Ruto? And my summation, it was the economy. If you are forming a coalition of legacy politicians that does not focus on the economy, we are not coalescing because of the economy. That because we are giving one person here, Kigogo here, president, this one prime minister, this one deputy, this one CS, this one what, then that's conmanship. You're trying to con the Kenyan people out of the reasons why they've left William Ruto. They left William Ruto on the economy. And a coalition that we will be part of should be a coalition that says, on the economy, this is what we are uniting about. Because we are thinking post-William Ruto. We are uniting on, we are not paying odious debt. Life must be bearable to the people of Kenya in these following ways. Number one, remove school fees, primary, secondary, TVET. Remove shift share, that healthcare at 158 billion Kenya shillings, every Kenyan can access healthcare for free.
You're beating around the bush, because my question is, we have Azimio as a coalition.
Yes.
Do you have a problem with it?
I've answered you that if I asked you, even you, Jadiel, to tell me what is the fundamental ideology that brings together the political parties in Azimio as a coalition.
Isn't it one term?
Is that the ideology of the people? Is that what is our problem as a people? Is one term our problem? People are not sleeping home because Ruto is president. People are sleeping home because Ruto has failed on the economy. So you cannot now say that just remove William Ruto, then overnight there'll be food on their tables. It will not. That is why what will change is those legacy politicians who will occupy the positions, they'll end up the ones benefiting. But the bulk of the people will continue suffering.
Why do you think there's a deliberate attempt from government to ensure that Azimio doesn't reorganize? And why do you think there's that conversation that, there are some parties, even including ODM, that doesn't want Azimio to organize?
You see,
is it about politics?
The framing of the problem that you're trying to do is you're framing it to be about legacy politicians who at one point are in Kenya Kwanza, another point they're in Azimio. At one point in Azimio, another point they're in Kenya Kwanza. Let's be honest, let's be brutally frank to Kenyans today. Rigathi Gachagua was in Kenya Kwanza. Now, they're trying to drag him to Azimio. Right? Uhuru Kenyatta as presidential cabinet nominees sitting in the Kenya Kwanza cabinet. Right? Now, he's pulling back in Azimio. Karoli Omondi was in Kenya Kwanza at some point. He crossed over from ODM to join Kenya Kwanza. When ODM went there, now he's come back to Azimio. That's what I'm saying. These whimsical games. These people are all the same. They just change jerseys, but they're playing on the same field. So when they form coalitions, don't be surprised if any side were to win, that you again see the cross-pollination. That is what Safina is rejecting. This contest, if you ask me, is 2022 part 2 of Uhuru versus Ruto.
And we saw
Everybody
how it
else
went down.
just becomes a pawn. So Safina, what we stand for is let's have a discussion about the people. And we are very clear, and we must be clear on what the people should be coalescing about. And to us is the economy. And people discuss the tangibles, not fake promises. When Gen Z started the revolution here last year, but what? Wasn't Gachagua leading the onslaught against them? Today is their #1 champion because he's out of Kenya Kwanza. When Gen Zs were doing their demonstrations last year, you saw ODM parrots who had been previously supporting them, now condemning them. That is the conmanship that I talk about. That these legacy politicians should stop these games of playing Kenyans and shifting positions and seats for their own benefit. So Safina, we will not join any coalition that is about giving seats to individuals.
What did you notice when your party leader was going to those meetings? Have you talked to him, or what did you notice when he was actively involved with Gashagua's camp?
In fact, when he attended it's called PAP, the Martha Karua party launch, his statement made publicly was very clear. We must have an agenda on which we unite. It cannot be one term. That is not the people's agenda. Because Ruto will go. Then what? The what question? He posed it publicly. It's a question he had posed to them. What is the basis of our coalition? What is the basis of our coming together? It must be the people.
Did you notice something that took you off the coalition of Gachagua because you haven't been meeting them?
No, that took us off. They were not seeing what we were seeing. They didn't understand that we should form a coalition about the people. To them, it should be a coalition about leaders getting to get power and sharing positions among themselves, which is something that we don't believe in. We believe in an ideology that should be focused primarily on the people. That it doesn't matter who is president or deputy or CS, whatever. As long as the core is about the people, everybody benefits. And we're all agreed on what needs to be done. That's a conversation that we're not willing to have.
Do you think the likes of Uhuru Kenyatta are the ones that are taking us back?
Of course. Of course. The odious debts, the legal debts that are killing this country today, who is the godfather of them? Who started the gravity train? It was Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. William Ruto is just perpetuating what Uhuru started. Those illegal debts were taken under his watch, and he signed the presidential warrants to pay off some of those illegal debts. So, to them, the gravy train should continue.
Some believe that Uhuru worked with Raila in 2020, with Ruto in 2022, and therefore it poses a risk for those in the opposition to work with him. As much as you don't want to delve into that conversation, For Kenyans thinking whether or not to trust Uhuru Kenyatta or even Rigathi Gachagua, what would you tell that Kenyan?
My advice to Kenyans normally is this. Stop looking at legacy politicians. Look at your own issue. Elections should be about your issue, not just replacing one individual with another. It should be where we are today. You are replacing the individuals with issues. And the issues crystallized by Safina party are the following. No payment of odious debt. The money paid to odious debt should be applied to education, healthcare. VAT should go. We have a 5% sales tax. Government will stop borrowing for domestic market. Release that money in local banks to the Kenyan people to borrow at low interest rates to be able to commercialize their ideas. Those should be the issues, in my view, that any voter needs to focus on.
Themselves.
This is me.
Me.
Once I vote for this political party, once I vote for Safina, we have an agreement. I'll not pay 16% VAT. I'll pay 5% sales tax. I will not pay for education, primary, secondary, TVET. I will not pay for healthcare. I only need to take my patient to hospital with a national ID. That's it all. But if you are voting that you think, I'm going to vote for Mtuetu, my fellow Jaluo, is now a CS of finance, then now all Jaluos are happy. That now one of our own is a deputy president, now the entire tribe is happy. That is legacy politics. And if people want to continue paying school fees, people still want to pay for healthcare or to die because they don't have money to pay for healthcare services. You have a good company in the legacy politicians. Continue with them. But if you want a society that focuses on the people, that we are not paying for the following, our tax money to be applied to pay for these things, then Safina is here.
What do you
and
think?
if the people want to pay,
Yes.
who am I to stop them? The people will decide. That's what democracy is about.
If the voter is wrong, at least it's still democracy.
It's still democracy. I have no problem with it. I'll say no. Maybe I was ahead of what the voter wanted.
Utarudi baadaye.
To maybe when they mature, their minds mature, that they want to participate in what I'm saying, that should be the social contract between the governed and the governing, then there will be that space.
We'll talk about enforcement. We talked about it last week and I find it interesting. Have you seen the Sifuna wave, Babu Wino, Sotsi? I was talking to someone and saying these are the people that can lead the next revolution. They're youthful, they're relating. What is your thinking about what they're doing? As much as they haven't yet addressed what you want them to address, the people issue. What do you think about that wave?
If you listen to me keenly, I don't have faith in individual politicians. I have faith in issues, the ideology that informs. It is good enough what they're doing in terms of mobilizing the public to show that the failures of Kenya Kwanza and William Ruto, that is good enough. But as to the future, what next? They are yet to come up with the what next. And I cannot judge them without seeing what the what next is beyond William Ruto going. So at that point, once they come up with their what next, then I'll be able to say, this is something that can work or cannot work. But at least when I listened to Sifuna in Busia, he was fleshing out some of the issues I'm saying. The cost of living, the failing healthcare system. What I'm waiting for now is for him to come up with what is their proposal on solutions. Then we can engage. But if it is just the point of lamentations without profiling the solutions, then I'm sorry. It doesn't address my politics.
Do you think they will take over Raila's, let me kusumbua kidogo, do you think they will take over Raila's backyard? The ODM supporters, I saw a tweet someone saying the ODM supporters haven't danced as much as they did when Sifuna was there. Kuchokoza kidogo, do you think they can take over?
You know, as I've said, the issue is the economy. If they come up with a comprehensive response on the economic problem, like Safina has, then they have a chance. And as Safina will have no problem with them, because they will be advancing the same cause that we have, which is about economic liberation of our people. And their proposals will be tangible, so be it. Then we have a competition of ideas. The best idea wins, everybody in Kenya wins.
Social contract, you have used that word so many times in our conversations. And I feel for many people, it's a word that, it's probably a jargon in a sense. What is this social contract and how should Kenyans understand it when it comes to the relationship between the governed and the governor?
You know what a social contract is about? It starts from the premise that everybody should individually decide for themselves what they want. But because of the numbers, the people created a state, came up with the constitution, and they donate part of their power, decision-making powers, part of their authority to the state. And they elect their representatives from the presidency to the assemblies, who will exercise the donated powers. And the commitment should be, when it's donated to you, you're supposed to be a trustee exercising that power to the benefit of the people. That has been broken. Our legacy politicians, once elected, they assume position of authority over the people. They forget that they're just but servants of the people. They become the masters of the people. That is wrong. The social contract should be that I am just being sent as one amongst equals. That because not all of us can meet at Uhuru Park as Kenyans, we elect a few people to go and speak and represent our interests, our common good. Are these legacy politicians doing that? They're not. When they take illegal loans and take the money in their private accounts, is that part of the social contract? No. When they decide that then they're living lavish lifestyles and the people are living in penury, is that part of the social contract? It's not. So the social contract has been breached. And the people need to rebuild the state. And you rebuild the state by having a political consciousness that going forward, in terms of electing representatives to superintend over the social contract, they must be people who we are giving further particulars on the terms of reference. So we are saying we'll vote for Safina. We are agreeing we are not going to pay for health care. It will be funded by our taxpayer money. We agree we are not paying for education, funded by our taxpayers' money. That my duty as a voter and a taxpayer, once I have voted for Safina, healthcare, I will never spend an extra coin. Education, I will never spend an extra coin. You as Safina, never borrow from a domestic market. That money that is in our local banks, leave it to us. Interest rates must fall. We will go and take those loans to carry out economic activities for ourselves. We'll pay you the taxes to run the programs that we expect of you to run on our behalf. That is the social contract. That's what Safina is about.
What are the enforcement mechanisms now? Yes, we have we have consciousness. Last week you talked about having a sheriff who can kick out, work with the people because they're elected. But what enforcements other than that do you think are necessary? Because
for a social contract to function and to achieve on its objectives, it involves the participation of both sides. The ones who've been donated to the power and the sovereign, the people. The people must exercise constant vigilance and participation. They cannot withdraw from engaging. They must be constantly engaging with the people they've donated the power to and put them to task. So when we had agreed you are not going to pay school fees, it is the people to take their kids to school and not pay school fees. And if they are asked to pay those school fees, then they have a duty to reject and not pay.
Kick out the head teacher or
kick
whatever.
Out the head teacher or whatever. Or even if the directive is coming from the minister or from the president, kick him out. And that's why I've told you, the tools of oppression legacy politicians use to oppress the people are the police. Part of our commitment is that the police must be given civilian oversight at the local level. So all OCPDs, turn them to sheriffs, be elected by the people. So they are not answerable to the above. They are answerable to the people in that division. All police stations must have civilian oversight boards. So we've taken away the tool of oppression. So even at the national level, we know that we are exposed. If you don't honor the social contract, if the people come out to demonstrate, there is no policeman you are going to send to kill them, like William Ruto does. To suppress them, like William Ruto does. Because now power is in the hands of the people. And they have the tools to ensure that the people they've donated the power to are living true to the donated power.
What went wrong? Moi went. Kibaki did a good job. What went wrong after that? Because it seems like we're progressing.
The virus of this country is called Jubilee. And that virus keeps mutating. This I must say. That virus started as Jubilee coalition. It was a coalition between TNA and URP. Uhuru and Ruto. In 2022, that virus mutated. Part of it became Kenya Kwanza, part of it became Azimio. 2026, today we are seeing the virus again mutating. Continuing as Azimio, trying to claim part of the young people and even what was ODM. Another part is mutating into Kenya Kwanza. You are seeing William Ruto eating into ODM. This virus eats. When there's a virus, what do you do with it? You look for an antivirus. You must find your vaccine to eliminate the virus. So what is the vaccine? The vaccine is to reject both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. It's the same thing. There's no fundamental difference. They started as one. Now they pretend to you that they're different. They're not different. It's the same virus. Because what they did, I've told you, when Kibaki left this country, out of every 100 Kenya shillings, the Kenyan people were paying as tax revenue. Only 18 shillings was going towards debt finance. We had 82 shillings for every 100.
82.
82 shillings out of every 100 shillings KRA collected. That was going to be applied for our own benefit, our own comfort. That's why the economy was booming. Today, out of every 100 Kenya shillings you are paying to KRA, 80 shillings going to debt finance. You are left with 20 shillings to run the country.
To pay wage bill,
wage bill, development, devolution, everything. It's not possible. Operations of government. So the virus is Kenya Kwanza and Jubilee. Let me say Jubilee is the
That's why
virus.
It's important for you to first deal with this debt.
You cannot move before you deal with the debt. Let me try to put it to you this way. If you are employed and you are earning 100,000, and you are telling me you've taken a loan that you are paying 80,000, now you've taken a loan, which money did not come into the household. You drank it outside there, or you gave it to your mpango wakando. Then you come to your family and you tell them, now we need to spend 80,000 Kenya shillings to pay for that loan. You are left with 20,000. Your rent is 60,000. The food for that house is 15,000. Education for your kids is 20,000. You only had 20,000.
So you have to borrow again.
So you have to borrow or find ways.
Or refuse to pay.
Or just tell them, tell your family, always go and eat at the neighbors. You tell your kids to go to school and become truants. That's why you see government tells you go and pay for your own health care. Shift share is not working, right? The system is designed for it not to work, so that government is not subsidizing health care. It is you, the individual, to pay it, or else you die. Education, capitation is not reaching on time. So the parent is forced to find more money to pay for those school fees. So government has shirked its responsibilities. So even you as a parent, if I use the analogy of a household, it's like telling your kids now for lunch, go to the neighbor's house because the kid is hungry. They'll have to find a way of eating. So they're going to the neighbor's house to eat. For education, they go and sneak into a school to learn and come back. When the landlord comes, you all escape to go and sleep in the neighbor's house. Right?
That is where we are.
That is where Kenya
How
is.
radical, finally, how radical do you need to fix things? There's this conversation that Kenya needs a radical person, not a soft Maraga, not a statesman Kalonzo, not a businessman, maybe Wanjigi, we will get to know him more. But how radical do you need to be?
It's not radicalism is not just about the demeanor of an individual, but it should be the radicalism of the idea that you are behind. The ideas we are proposing here are very radical. By the time I'm telling you that we are not going to pay illegal debts, do you know what that means? Do you know how many people are going to upset when you don't pay that gravity?
Yeah.
There are so many people who are benefiting from it. And we are radical enough to say we are not going to do it. We'll do an audit. When we say that you're not going to pay for healthcare in this country,
Cartels.
that people of Kenya will get healthcare for free. Do you know what you are upsetting in that health sector? Mafia house. People have fell off that gravy train.
Kagwe was calling this building here.
Yeah. So these ideas are radical.
Yes.
Not individual. It's the proposal. So what as Safina we propose is Kenya in a way you've never seen it. Nobody has ever seen it. Today, Kenyans take it like it's a given that you must pay for healthcare. Yeah, they know it's accepted norm. They say no, it doesn't have to be that way. Kenyans take it as a norm that you must pay VAT of 16%. They're saying no, do away with it. We want 5% sales tax. Change the entire system. When I'm telling you that policemen who have a chain of command that answers to somebody in Nairobi, and they say amri ni kubwa kushinda mwenye alipeana. They don't care about the citizens.
Amri ni kubwa.
When I'm telling you that that policeman who will be in charge of that chain of command, the command responsibility at every division, will be elected by the people. And it can be a policeman or a civilian, but elected by the people of that division. Do you know even changing? Do you know what you're upsetting?
Yes.
When I'm telling you, policemen are going to be oversighted at every police station by civilians. That every police station you see here, they allow civilian boards who can walk into the police station and cells and say, why is this one being detained here for 24 hours, 48 hours? Why has it not been taken to court? Why is this one not been taken to hospital and there's visible injuries? How did you use your gun? We can see here incident report. You are deployed out to a demonstration. You used a gun, somebody died. Who was given that gun? Who shot? Why did you shoot a gun? You are the one responsible? Committee. It
can't get as more radical
There's
as that.
nothing radical beyond what Safina is proposing. These are radical ideas.
But can you deal with this situation? Maybe we'll talk about it next week, where we are called puppets of the US. You cannot change a few things here in Kenya. We'll talk about that next week. Thanks for tuning into that conversation here with Willis Otieno, because he has a lot of ideas, but are they implementable because of the people who talk about? Ama, you have a small answer for that?
No. The point is very simple. Those who are comfortable with the system, those who found a comfort in the system as it exists today, are the ones who will tell you it's not workable. Our proposals are workable, and I challenge anybody to tell me what is not workable about not paying.
I'm saying puppets of the US.
Puppets of the US will discuss, but we're not puppets of anybody. Our sovereignty vests in us, and we must be strong enough to be able to assert our sovereignty. And even those countries will respect. And they've respected. When a country has decided on a path that it's following, it's just about interests. You identify your interests as a people, they have their interest as a people. And we find common areas that we can converge.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation. It's always a pleasure to talk to you every single week. Of course, come tune in next week. We're going to talk a little bit more about implementation. It seems like a dream, but will it be a reality? And if it is a reality, then what does that mean for our legacy politicians? Goodbye for now.